You may have heard that there was a video going around towards the beginning of the month wherein it claimed that Disney was making its next generation of child stars in a laboratory. Now, if that seems fantastical to you, it's because it is. It was a joke. It was a joke by an outfit called The Onion. The Onion, if you don't know, they're a satirical news organization. They do gag reports, which are meant to make light of things that we actually experience. Like Disney is, like all corporations, a soulless entity, and I wouldn't put it past them. If it were cheaper to grow a child star in a lab, I'm sure they would do it. But it was a joke, and it was never meant to be taken seriously, and yet a whole bunch of people did end up thinking it was real and shared it around as though it was real. Let's have a look at specifically what I'm talking about.
If you have kids at home, this next segment is for you. This Friday, the newest batch of Disney Channel stars grown in the Disney Genetic Engineering Lab will be unveiled to the public.
Right. Now, Tracy, most of our viewers are already familiar with a lot of the products that have come out of the Disney Lab. Yes. But how exactly do you create a Hilary Duff or a Miley Cyrus from scratch?
Right.
Well, we're going to find out exactly how it's done right now, because joining us live from the Disney Lab is one of their lead geneticists, Dr. Andrew Rourke. Welcome, Dr. Rourke. There's quite an operation you've got going on out there.
Thanks, Jim.
So the stars...
Okay, so first up, before you heckle people too much, remember, this is designed to look real. It's not supposed to actually be tricking people, because people are supposed to be watching it understanding that it's The Onion, and The Onion is a satirical news organization. It's like Weekend Update with Saturday Night Live. And you are supposed to be clued in by the fact that it's a ridiculous notion. You're supposed to be clued in by the fact that, say, Hilary Duff has parents. But credit where it's due. This looks, at a glance, it's got the normal news B-roll. It's got the news format. It's got a couple generic news-looking folks behind it. So, if you fell for this, if you thought this was real, don't feel too bad. I have questions for you that I think you should mull over, but don't feel too bad. If, however, you knew what The Onion was already, then you get a special bit of enjoyment here.
Stars that we see on TV are actually grown right here?
That's correct. They're grown and developed here. We engineer their brains for advanced singing and dancing capabilities, even posing for photos. By the time they grow to desired size, these child stars are fully ready for the camera or the concert tours or whatever Disney chooses to put them in.
That is simply amazing.
I love the B-roll of the actress training in expressions. Here's the thing. It also feels real, right? Like, if you were to tell me that Hilary Duff goes home at the end of the day and just stares blankly at the wall, I might believe it. Like, I probably wouldn't believe it, but I might, is the thing. Because we live in a world that feels very plastic. If you're laughing at this, bear in mind, today, if I have this correct, today we found out the first lab-grown meat is rolling out. Your old pal Jake might get to eat burgers again, because, it was chicken cell lines, but still. My whole beef with eating meat is that I don't want anything to die so that I can have a meal. I don't ask you to be the same way. It's a personal foible. But the point is, that's some sci-fi stuff right there, isn't it? AI is a big damn deal. It's faking personalities out there on the internet. Is it a stretch to get to this from that? Yes. But it ain't as much of a stretch as it used to be. And if you grew up in a world pre-cell phones, a hell of a lot's changed real fast. I'm just saying have a bit of sympathy. But we do have to talk about why this started happening. Because the Onion's been around for a long time, and there's a twist on this story.
Now, how long does it take to actually create a star from scratch?
Well, not very long at all. We use the exact same DNA structure for all of our stars, and then we simply tweak minor details like hair color or skin tone.
Right, yeah, we do have some footage here of some of the well-known creations that have come out of your lab. Let's take a look.
Yes, well, that's model 6831-A, publicly known as Mitchell Musso, standard male base with a type 3 skin pigmentation.
Wow.
And that's model 6831-B. We give him slightly thicker eyebrows and type 5 skin.
Well, so it's sort of like putting a puzzle together there.
Exactly, exactly.
Amazing.
Okay, here we've got some of the images of some of the newest models. We're going to be seeing a lot of these kids in the future.
It really looks like you have someone for every kid in America to love
Well, that's
here.
the idea, Tracy. Our writers find it very liberating. For example, our new model, Haley, is a singing, dancing, snowboarding, half Japanese, half Indian girl.
Wow.
Now, finding her in reality would be impossible.
Right, but sounds like a surefire hit to me. Oh, now this one's Zac Efron. I've seen him before.
Yes, Zach was actually one of our earliest
My
models.
daughters love him.
Okay, now to be fair, Zac Efron was grown in the lab. He's just, it wasn't a Disney-sponsored thing. I think it was a failed experiment from Blackwater.
I mean, he looks so real.
Actually, I think we could have done a better job with Zach. He could show more human tendencies.
Sure.
If you look closely, you'll notice there's a certain deadness around the eyes.
I do see that, yes.
I'm sorry, it's hard for me to watch because all I see is all my mistakes.
Yeah.
Boy, he seems flawless to me.
Well, he's holding up, but there was a bug in that first batch, and as a result, Zach's skin will soon begin to dissolve.
No, poor Zac Efron.
All right, well, it's simply amazing. Dr. Rourke, thank you so much for coming in and spending some of your morning
Relevance
with us. I
expectancy.
can't wait to see some of these new
Absolutely.
creations popping out of the lab.
Oh, delightful. Okay, so we can have a chuckle now. We understand that it was a satirical thing. But it got shared around as though it was real, and people were concerned about this. I'm assuming most people that watched it, and if you fell for it, don't feel bad, but I'm assuming most people that watched it only saw the headline and thought, oh my God, it's happening. Here's the twist. That particular piece of media came out in 2008. Let's look at the debunking of it. I mean, look, you're not alone. If you fell for this, you're not alone. If somebody posited this to you like it's a real thing, guess what? So many people believed it was real. Reuters did an article about it. Fact check. The Onion video of Disney stars grown in a genetic engineering lab taken seriously. A video shared on social media shows a TV interview with a geneticist at Disney Labs who says, yeah, we saw all that. Here it is. A Facebook user sharing the video with 14,000 views said that Disney grows their stars in a lab and the truth is in your face. You just don't want to believe it. Another Facebook user shared a similar claim, saying, did y'all see that Disney is creating their next child stars in labs, genetically engineered child stars? Some users appear to be taking the video seriously, with comments saying, who didn't know this? They've been making them since '59. Oof. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these executives are actually buying children and grooming them to be stars and further push their trifling agendas. Now, see right there. There it is. That second person. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these executives are actually buying children and grooming them to be stars. Now, see, that person seems to understand that the video itself is not real, but they nonetheless contribute to the problem. They're muddying the waters, and they're putting a different conspiracy in there. And we saw the video. They go on to explain it. Just to be absolutely clear, as explained by the U.S. Library of Congress, The Onion is an American satirical digital media company and newspaper organization. Satirical. Joking. Not real. So the question is that you got to ask yourself, How do you stop yourself in the future from having this same thing happen? If you believed it now, why did you believe it? Probably because somebody told you it was true in their post. It started with somebody saying, "Did you see this? This is true." So you're set up to believe it. I would say, first and foremost, the account that did that, you should block. You should block that account. They lied to you. They either didn't look at this themselves before sharing it and saying it was true, in which case you can't trust them, or they did look at it, they didn't care what was inside it, and they lied to you intentionally, in which case you shouldn't trust them. Block that account. They are liars. You cannot trust anything they have to say. A great way to make sure you get less misinformation in your inbox is as soon as somebody shows themselves to be a liar, to be unworthy of your trust, it's not your fault, it's their fault. Your trust has worth, and that worth is greater than them. Block that account. Now, this is the hard thing that I'm going to ask you to do. Look at some of the other things you believe, perhaps that you first saw on this platform, and ask yourself if that might also not be true. And unfortunately, this is going to hurt to hear, but unfortunately, it will be some of the most interesting things you believe. And there's a reason for that. They're not gonna waste their time trying to trick you with a boring story. They're going to make an attention-grabbing story. Great way to tell if you're looking at disinformation is to ask yourself the question, if this is so interesting, why am I only hearing about it here? You don't have to have faith in media organizations. In fact, go the opposite. Trust that they will do anything to make a buck. If it was that interesting, I promise you, having worked for these devils myself, they're going to tell you about it because they don't make their money by some mega corporation giving them $1 billion secretly under the table to keep something quiet. That ain't how it works. They are the mega corporations. And yes, that has its own problems. But they make money when you click on their articles. That's even though they have advertisers that, yes, they wouldn't want to anger. They want to please those advertisers by getting a lot of clicks. And if there was a story about Disney growing child stars in labs, I assure you, they would try to profit off that. Toot sweet. Similarly, when you hear somebody telling you something that's a little bit more, feels like it's not in the realm of sci-fi, like, the pharmaceutical companies figured out how to cure cancer, but they keep it from you. They hide it from you because it makes them more money to treat cancer with chemotherapy. Look, the logic doesn't hold up when you consider the fact that the first pharmaceutical company to patent a cure for cancer will instantly have trillions of dollars. That they would eat each other like fighting fish in a tank. The logic doesn't hold up. How about the fact that cancer will crop up in people forever, always? So long as we have cells that divide, we will have some that become cancerous. So if you have a cure for cancer, you're still going to get to sell it to folks multiple times. And by the way, if people believe that they can abuse their bodies and just take a pill to get rid of the cancer, you better believe they're going to abuse their bodies more. And it fails the same test. If it were true, if you found out about it, you who does not most likely look this stuff up for a living, actually interview the people involved for a living, if you found out about it, why didn't other news organizations find out about it? So, Before you share something like this, before you even commit to believing something like this, wait a day. If you saw this in the morning, you better believe it's going to be, if it's that interesting, if it strikes you as something that is really fascinating, wait a day. Because if you saw it in the morning, it will be in the evening news. Just try that out. And again, don't feel bad for falling for this. If you didn't know what The Onion is, well, even if you did know what The Onion is, this was a section of The Onion that was designed to look like a Today Show. It's designed to look like the news, but it is also not intended to trick you. So if you fell for it, that means somebody took it and intentionally, most likely, or just damn irresponsibly, somebody took it and used it to tell you a lie. And a question to mull over maybe for later is, why did they want to lie to you? Worth thinking about. Let's see what the Wicked community has to say.